wanted to do a little something different. You know, let's face it, we've all done it. We've made that really good chocolate cupcake recipe and it doesn't come out. But we're going to talk about how to salvage them when they taste good. Now, that's the caveat here. They have to taste good in order to salvage them. So that's what I'm going to be talking about is how to make a simple dish when your cupcakes go wrong. And I am going to be inviting the chef god in with us. He is one of our members, and he is going to be jumping in with me today.
Hey Frank,
Hey hey there, how you doing?
see if I can. I'm good. Let me see if I can get this camera. Can you see me?
Not yet.
All right.
I'm just straightening up my own camera today. I'm glad to have you. So, folks, welcome to Food Talk TV. We are actually today, I'm very excited because it is the first time that we have one of our newest team members in is what's this? He's coming in to Chef God. He is kind of the East Coast side, and will be joining us as we move forward um, over the next couple weeks. And he is going to be um, adding to our repertoire of chefs. So many of you remember we've had Chef Bradley been joining us, and he was. It's kind of funny because we've got a couple new ones. So Brad, you're no longer a freshman. You're going to be moving into sophomore year now, and Moises gets to be freshman for a while. So we're going to be talking. I just want to invite myself here and see if I can. I'm hearing a little feedback on your side, Moises.
Are you? I'm locked in my dungeon. There should be silence in here.
Okay, maybe it's me. All right.
So you're doing a salvage truffle, huh?
I salvage trifle, yeah. So here, let's face it, folks. It happens to every single one of us. So welcome to Food Talk TV. We go live every single day. I'm Frank, and I tend to be probably the least of our live teams lately because of work. I can't tell if that's me though, if that's my speaker or not. Just checking the arc on my I do not want to see this guy toppling down today. So we do lives every single day on Food Talk, and we have been trying to expand our differences and our flavors. And one of the things that one of my favorite topics really is how do we talk about those things that go wrong? Because it happens. It happens all the time. We make something, and it just doesn't come out right, and there's nothing you can do about it. But sometimes the reality is the dish actually tastes good. It just doesn't look good. So what we're going to do is I am going to. I can't tell if that's me or for you. Is that how am I coming across for you? Am I clear?
You sound pretty good. I can understand you and hear you clearly.
All right. Let me jump
You
in
want me to
here.
log off and probably log back in?
No, let's see if I can jump in and get myself in as well. Let's see. This way I can also hear and see what's happening. I see you. I'm going to accept myself. I've been trying to practice this one part because I don't always. Um, there
Chef
we go.
Bradley said it's only when you talk, Frank.
It's just on me.
Yeah.
All right, hold on. Is that
Is
any
that any
better?
better? Uh, Talk again.
Is that any better?
I could hear you. I hear you twice though. I could hear your echo from your other
Yeah,
device.
it's something with my double camera, and I don't know why. So I'm gonna drop out of
the box from there, and I'm just going to focus on you guys. All right. Now you hear me, I hope.
Yeah, that's better. You don't hear the echo now. So this this
Yeah.
this is consistent of cake, um, custard, and fruits. No.
Well, the traditional trifle definitely will have some kind of a cake. It will have a custard or a pudding. Sometimes, if it's a real trifle, is going to also be, of course, is going to be will have a lot of other elements. It can have jam in it. But what we're going to do is salvage. This is my salvage trifle. So let's talk a little bit about it. So first of all, look what happened. I've
Somebody
been
is
playing
saying
with
that they
this.
can only see the comments, no video.
You can't see the
Is
video.
anybody else having that issue?
You might swipe if you're only seeing comments. Swipe left or right.
Sketchy says she sees video. Yeah, everybody sees the video. Yeah, she
Okay.
probably swipe left. Try to swipe. I see
Yeah, I
both.
can see it there. All right, good. So let's try it there. So look what happened. I made, and of course I'm getting chocolate everywhere because these are so moist. So I've been playing with this recipe. I love chocolate with cream cheese. And I made these the other day, and they are so moist. Look at those. I mean, they're so moist that they're really good. And of course, I don't want to bring them somewhere,
I would
but I
eat
did
them
eat a
just.
few,
I
and
would eat
they're
them
just,
just the way they are. They look
you
so
know,
delicious. Like
if it was
oh,
just for me, I would. But what happens when you're preparing something? When you're trying to make a dessert to take somewhere, things like this happen. So I wanted to say this is how Food Talk
good
TV,
guys.
what we want to do is create opportunities for people to think. So for those of you who are new to Food Talk TV, I'm Frank Mentor SF. I'm one of the 10 creators. In the box below me is Moises. He's our newest creator. We come from all over the country and internationally, and our whole goal is really to give an opportunity to have fun with food. We like sharing recipes. We show techniques, and we want to make people understand that you don't have to be a professional chef to have some fun. So today we're talking about a salvage trifle. Now, trifle, there's a very traditional trifle that's much more European and English. We're not talking about that. We're talking this Americanized trifle, which is essentially a layer of some kind of cake product, a cream or a pudding, something with a crunch, and you layer it up. But and what happened for me is I was making these to take somewhere tonight, and I've been playing with a new recipe for chocolate cupcakes with a cream cheese center. But they just were so moist. They taste really good, but they were just not pretty. So I was not, though, going to have to start fresh all over again. And I decided, let's see what I had in my cabinet. Now, let's face it, this is the time of year when it's really a good time to take stock what's in your cabinet. The holidays are fast approaching.
Tap
So
that
I always
screen,
keep,
y'all.
what's that?
I'm telling them tap the screen
All right. So
so we
I
can get more
always
people in
keep
here.
instant pudding in my cabinet because you never know. So I usually keep a couple boxes of vanilla. This is just a chocolate instant pudding. So the first thing I want to do is I want to make up a quick set chocolate pudding. So I'm going to do that first because I need that to set up a little bit. Now, could you do this entire recipe with store-bought items? Yes. As a matter of fact, you could go to your grocery store and buy the day-old cake because it'll be a little stale. But the good thing about the day-old cake or brownies, when they're a little bit stale, they will actually absorb liquid better. And you want to be able to absorb the moisture. So, and you could buy pudding in a container if you don't want to mix it. Now, one of our creators, Sherry underscore Skinner, she's got great recipes on how to work with pudding, instant pudding, slow set pudding, and using them in your microwaves, which for a lot of us wasn't something we did. We would have to stand at the stove or we would do this kind of quick set one. So this is, as I said, this is a great time. Take stock what's in your cabinet. So I went in my cabinet and I knew I had pudding. And I'm going to keep going. I also almost always have some version of Cool Whip. Now, because I traditionally am fairly dairy free, I try and have a lot of dairy free products. So Cool Whip, But if I had full fat whipping cream, heavy cream, I would have just whipped that up and made it that way. Again, the challenge with a full fat cream, it will not keep its set oftentimes for a heavy dessert. So this is, again, where Cool Whip works really well. Doesn't matter the colors, not in the least. So all I'm doing is I'm just giving this, I'm waiting for it now. And I'm not even worried that this is going to set solid because I'm not using a sauce. So this is going to end up being part of my saucy layer.
And that's the consistency you're looking for in it?
It's still a little loose. It needs to set up a little bit more. I don't want it to be too thick, which is why I didn't make it earlier. I want it to be a little bit more saucy, a little bit more layerable, like almost like a chocolate fudge sauce, but I didn't want to use a whole fudge sauce.
Right, guys, tap that screen. Follow FoodTokTV. You can follow us on all our social networks, our website, foodtoktv.com. We have Frank. He's making a salvage trifle now, right?
Right on. All right. I'm going to let that set up now on the other side here. Now, I happen to have, because we make trifles all the time in our house, this is a traditional trifle bowl. Basically, any clear bowl that has a wide brim is what they're used for.
That's fancy.
But to be honest, I've made these with clear brownie pans. I've made them in bowls. It doesn't really matter. It really just depends on what you have. I have one, so I brought it out. So the first thing I'm going to do, and this is messy, is just crumble the already super moist brownies. Or cupcakes rather. Brownies work totally fine in this recipe. Doesn't matter. You can choose your flavors. Really is totally up to you. This is also a great, in the summer, my mom used to make this, and she would do this in clean plastic planter containers. And then the final layer, she would do a ground up cookie base. And then put fake flowers and gummy worms in it and make it resemble a flower pot. All right, so we're getting that first layer in.
The organizer man said, hi, Frank. Hi, Moses. How's it going, buddy?
Hey there. Hey, everybody. Welcome into Food Talk TV. So, Moises, you do catering. What happens when something doesn't work out? What do you do?
I'll make it happen. I work with what I got, and you got to just make it happen. You got to get creative.
It's really all you can do some days.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the idea is you just kind of have to figure out what you have that'll work, what won't work, and how best to improvise. So I'm improvising with what I have at home.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so now my pudding is beginning to set up. So I'm going to just take very liberally, and I'm just going to put some of that pudding. Now, I'm using a milk chocolate pudding because this is a very dark chocolate brownie. In the brownie, just for those of you who are interested, there is sour cream, there is espresso. So when I make a lot of my cake mixes any whether I use a box or from scratch, I actually use, instead of water, I will use cold coffee because I think it gives a better flavor. And I always have coffee around. All right, so now I got a nice little layer of pudding on top. When I went in my cabinet, I realized this is a great little find. I don't know if anybody's seen these. I picked these up, and I've been buying them when I see them on sale because they're already a nice mix. They're just enough And I like having some texture in something like this because it's very creamy. It's very soft. I want a little extra. And they have different versions and different flavor profiles for this. Doesn't matter. You could also just use nuts. You can use chocolate chips. You could use dried fruit. It doesn't really matter. Whatever you have. Let me tell you, no matter what variation you make of this, people are going to want it. They're going to eat it. And it's just the reality of this.
It's looking good.
All right. Now, good old-fashioned, just good old-fashioned Cool Whip. You could use real whipped cream. I like Cool Whip because at least I can eat it because it's a little bit more dairy friendly. And it'll hand up. So if I were going to set this up now, it's in the early afternoon here, I know this is going to stay layered and not melt by the time I go to the party.
So this you're gonna let sit on its own. You're not gonna put it in the oven, or you're not gonna put it in the
You don't have
refrigerator.
to
It just
cook
sits out,
this.
right?
The cake, nope, the cake is already cooked. Everything else doesn't need to be. All this has to be is refrigerated before you serve it. This
Okay.
is the kind of dessert that if you have to make, if you're not somebody who likes to bake, you can buy everything pre-made at the grocery store, layer it yourself. If you want to zip it up, there are lots of ways to zip this up. You could add alcohol to the cake and
Mm.
give it some extra flavor. All that doesn't matter. I mean, I've added raspberry liqueur before. I've added Kahlua for parties. It's really your choice. You could even change up the color if you want the cream to be a different color. You have lots of options. This is one of those activities where there's a hundred different ways to do it, and every one of them is going to be good. It doesn't matter.
And how many pieces of cupcake do you use to make this? To make it.
Well, this was it was an 18 count of cupcakes. We ate a couple. So I think here's probably 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, maybe
Okay.
12. And there was in my batter was actually more, and I had more. What I did is I took the rest of the batter, I put it in a small loaf pan, and I baked it alongside it. And I found that if I cooked it a lot longer, like I did in the loaf pan, it got a little bit more firm, but it lost some of the flavor. So I like this recipe. I just have to refine it a little bit more.
Okay.
But I will tell you, these were so good in flavor that I would make this just to be able to make this truffle. And this trifle, we've made variations in my household. Paul makes these a lot, and it's become like a requested dessert at our
I
functions.
could eat that with a nice cold glass of milk.
That's exactly the way to do it.
Yep.
All right, I'm wiping my fingers because it's messy.
All
Now I'm
right.
going to
So
add one more layer of chocolate pudding. Butterscotch works really well. Vanilla works really well. You really can't go wrong. It's just what is your preference? So if I were going to do a white cake or a strawberry cake, I would use maybe a white or a vanilla pudding or a flavored pudding. Um, if you're going to add fruit, you want to make sure it's a fruit that holds its moisture because you don't want to get it too watery.
everybody's loving it. The organizer man said, "Yum." October Dragonfly said,
This
"Wow,
is good
Frank."
all seasons. The other piece I love about doing one of these salvage trifles is they'll stand up. You're going to have a buffet. You just have to leave a spoon in there, and it's the kind of thing where you don't have to get fussy. When it's gone, quite frankly, and you don't have to worry about how it's going to look when they scoop in. The messiest part of this is you when you're making it. So now, before I add another layer, because it is annoying me,
Somebody said, "What fruit do you recommend if you're gonna add fruit?"
say that again.
Somebody said, "What fruit do you recommend if you're gonna to add to it?"
If I were going to add fruit to one of these, first of all, what I would do is I would put the fruit directly on the cake layer and not on the custard layer. And I would probably use a custard instead of a pudding if I were going to use that. Just cleaning off because part of the look of this that's fun is the layers.
Yes.
What fruit would I use? Well, I'm a big peaches fan. Strawberries I would use, peaches I would use, um, cherries if they're fresh. Anything that's been frozen and then thawed is going to have a lot more moisture, and that's going to be a little bit more of a challenge. Now I'm putting up the layer of the candies. This could be crushed cookies, candies. This case, it's candies that have little marshmallows and little graham cracker bits. The reason I put the layer of this candy layer on the pudding and not the oh, good, perfect, and not the actual cake is because the next layer is also a soft layer, the final layer. So I want to have a little bit of dimension when you're biting. You're getting all those layers. Otherwise, you would get cake, candy, pudding, cream, and it wouldn't. It just blends quicker.
Well, you did good with those. It's looking fantastic right now.
All right. I have a feeling this may not make it for very long. Now, the other nice thing about this dish, if you have food sensitivities, like if you're dairy intolerant, you can make your cakes dairy free. You can use and then using the Cool Whip, there's no dairy in it. But if you are sugar sensitive, you can use the sugar-free products. As a matter of fact, I've made this before with the sugar-free Cool Whip, and I used a sugar-free type of cake batter that I did with, and I did some cookies, and then I used the sugar-free candies. So you can play with this, and if, folks who are doing keto, it's kind of fun because some of the keto crackers and cookies, they're good texture, but they can lack some flavor. But in a dish like this, I want the texture, so it ends up being a perfect dish. But I will tell you, I'm an African, I'm an Italian American, and one of the things that I love are anisette cookies and variations of these hard crisp cookies. I love using them in this. All right,
Yeah.
our final layer. I'm gonna put, just because I want people to know that there's nuts in here and that there's more chocolate pieces. Remember, if you're serving this at a party, you want to be representative of what's in the layers. So sometimes when people who have a nut sensitivity, you want to make sure that you can show the nuts a little bit so they know whether they can eat it. Now, I'm sensitive to cashews, so I tend to watch really carefully. And now I'm just going to sprinkle, just because it's pretty, and I had them in my cabinet, some slivered almonds.
Hey Frank, can you move the camera so they can see a little bit more of what you're doing there?
Oh, it must have fallen. Thanks.
Yep.
I wasn't even looking. I was paying attention to making it pretty.
No
How's
worries. Chef
that?
Riley came to the rescue.
Ugh. Just fixing my camera mount here. How does that look? Better?
Yes.
Sorry for the noise, folks. My camera mount shifted, and that's where the weight distribution went. Let me try it this way. There we go. All right. How is that?
Looks good.
Want a side view?
Yeah. October Dragonfly wants to know what's the mix that he's adding there. He added
It is. This is Nestle's Toll House morsels, and it's semi-sweet morsels, waffle bits, and mini marshmallows. That's what the topping is. But they have several varieties that you can pick from these days. That's just the ones that I buy them when I see them on sale, and they're great for quick cooking.
looks
All right.
good, buddy. You did a great job there. I'm impressed.
Technically, this dish is done. Technically, but because I tend to go overboard. I didn't have any, and there's so much chocolate. So what I decided to do is just add a little caramel drizzle. Not a lot,
Nice.
just enough.
Nice. Good job.
And
I'm impressed.
Now that's how you salvage cupcakes that taste great, but aren't ready for prime time. And you know what? You can do the same thing in a mini version.
Oh, look at that.
So this was the one I made before I started because I wanted one that didn't have pudding. So this is essentially the same exact version. So you can make these small individual ones. You can make one large, big one. It doesn't matter. It works the same way. So, before you get stressed out and before you start thinking, oh man, I got to throw this away, I got to start something over, taste it. All right. That's the first thing. Taste your product. Did it come out nice? Did it taste good? Okay, maybe it's ugly. That's okay. We can love ugly too. We just have to rethink how to use it. In this case, I went from this very tasty but unappealing, whoops, sorry about that. Ooh, good. Unappealing cupcake into a much nicer version of what I call my salvage trifle. No fuss, and anybody, it doesn't matter whether you can cook or not. You can buy every one of these ingredients in the grocery store and put them together. Nobody needs to know that they weren't fresh made at home because guess what? If you fix it at home and you bring it, it's homemade. If all the
That's right.
components aren't homemade, ain't nobody gonna know unless you're dumb enough to tell them.
Right. Good
All right.
job, buddy. You did great. Did great job there. Did you take a don't forget to take a before and after picture.
I am. I have to do that because the bosses, they got to get their pictures.
Yeah.
But
Good
this is
job
one of
there.
those fun things is that we get caught up in how things are and they look. And I like something to be made that looks nice. But what
Okay,
did
we
that
got over
take me?
10,000 likes. Let's go. Keep tapping that screen.
Hey, this was so I want to welcome and I want to thank you. Folks, I want to just talk a little bit about Food Talk TV. Food Talk TV is a collaborative effort. We're all creators in our own right, but we met each other over a passion for food. We are diverse in our interests, in our personalities, and every single day we go live. And there's usually one of us talking. Now, sometimes you'll see them. Today, I'm not. You're not seeing me. And there's always somebody in our box. And we go live every day and we just share our cooking, our tips. We have a weekly cooking club for members only, where you actually get the recipes earlier in the week, and then on Zoom you all cook together, and it's actually a lot of fun. We do series specials. Right now we are in the middle of our casserole series, so usually around this time Ashby Cooking goes live, but she went on earlier this morning. Tomorrow, um, let's see, tomorrow is going to be Sherry_Skinner going on. Actually, tomorrow and Wednesday, I believe, she'll be on
Right. They're
with
saying to
some
grab your
dishes.
phone.
What's that?
Somebody's saying grab your phone.
Oh, okay. And so we try to go on every single day. You can find out more about us at Food Talk TV. You can also follow us on every social. We're on Twitter, we're on Pinterest, we're on Instagram and Facebook. All of our lives within 24 hours or so are up on the YouTube page. I try to post as many of the recipes that we do on lives on our blog in the kitchen, which can be found at the foodtalktv.com page. But please, if you're new to us and you're not following us, give us a follow. You never know who we go from Southern to Swedish to now we're going to be having some more Puerto Rican. We have more Spanish food, Mexican foods. I bring in some Italian foods, and we cook from all the different places because we cook from our hearts, we cook from our passions, and we want to make food accessible to folks.
Yeah, so follow, 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 follow.
Moses, how does it feel to be in the box officially for the first time?
Man, I was a little nervous, but thank God, you did most of the talking. I didn't have to talk much. I'll get used to it.
You'll get there.
Hey, look who joined us. Mr. Kaz himself came. Hey,
Hey
Kaz.
there, Kaz.
Thanks,
Oh,
Chef Bradley.
Bradley's in the room. That's good.
Hey,
Hold on a
Kaz, you
second. I'm
missed
going to
it.
just shift the camera so that I can get a better view.
has just
Does that look better,
has.
everybody?
Oh yeah, that looks great. That's a great picture. Yeah.
There you go. There's our shot. So now, one of the things, remember I said I doctor up my cakes? One of the things that I make all my baked goods is I actually use my own vanilla. So I make my own vanilla extract because I want to know what's in it. But this is how easy. Now, we went from this, really tasty, but not that pretty, to this. Isn't that great?
Amazing. That looks amazing.
And there's the little one for me because that's the one that doesn't have pudding in it for me because I didn't want so much dairy in my milk today. But easy, you can make little ones. If you're having a kids party, these are great because the kids don't really care about the layers. You can actually do them in paper cups or reusable cups, even like the old-fashioned custard cups. They're a great way at a party for kids. The nice thing about when you're having a kids party with this, you don't have to worry about hands getting into it. But if you're going to a buffet, you're going to a dinner party, and you are planning to make these little things, and they don't come out, don't stress. But you can make a sheet of brownies. You can even like a plain old flat sheet of cake. You can just break it up and throw it in. The idea is you want your layers. You're going to want a solid cake, some kind of custard or pudding, a cream of some sort, a crunch, and then you repeat the layers. So usually you can get this many layers. If you had a higher one, it would be you could do more. Trish, it is very chocolatey. Yes, this is definitely, we are a chocolate. It's so tiny. I know, huh?
You did a good
Boys,
job
this is a
there, man.
great recipe for parties, for buffets, because you could literally make most of this the night before and knock it all together real quick in a sheet pan and serve it out at a party.
Yep, you absolutely can. That looks great, man. You did a great job there, Frank. I'm impressed.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm so glad you came on. So tell us a little bit. So for the new folks who are on Food Talk, who are used to us, Moises is joining us. Moises, you're going to be doing a lot of Spanish and Puerto Rican foods, yeah?
Yes.
So we'll be getting a flavor. He'll be sitting in the box more and more as we get um, as he gets used to us. Today was his first opportunity, so I thought since I had a little catastrophe with my poor cupcakes, and I'm not ashamed to admit it, I thought let's get him in. So what kind of cream did I use? Howling Tales. I cheated. Well, I didn't really cheat because there's no rule. I used plain old fashioned Cool Whip because I can eat it. It's dairy free. But you could use heavy whipping cream. And something I want to remind folks are if you whip up your own cream, you can't use half and half. You have to use full fat, heavy whipping cream. Half and half doesn't have enough fat. It won't whip up. And if it does whip up eventually, it won't stay stable enough to make the layers. All right. Well, everybody, I just wanted tonight was a short one. It was just sort of a welcome to the club. Please follow to Chef God. He's got underscores, so DA underscore chef underscore God. Please follow myself, Frank underscore mentor SF. Follow all of our other creators. A bunch of us are in the room tonight. So you've got October Dragonfly, you have Sketchy Chef, you have Cooking with Kaz, who also has underscores between his. I think we have Just Like Granny in the house. I wasn't
We got
watching.
Chef Bradley.
Chef Bradley is in the house. Then we have our other content creators. Will also include Gluten Free Mama Ann. We also have Cook It Erica as one of our advisors.
Thank you, Bradley. Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you, you guys.
Thank
All
you.
right. Well, we will. I mean, I will write this up. It is not a difficult one. We'll get it up there. But remember, you can go from this when you have any kind of baking catastrophe, as long as you have the standards in your pantry: instant pudding, Cool Whip, and some kind of bag of crunch. And these are what I'm using because they're a perfect amount for. I can usually do these like with if I use a lot for super brownies, or I can use them just as needed. Very few ingredients. You can get something that looks like this out. So never stress out. Never stress out when you have a fail because, quite frankly, this little bugger over here, it was really good. It was really good. It's just look how moist it is. It's sticky. So it didn't look pretty.
I'm skipping dinner. I'm going straight to dessert.
You deserved it. Moises, welcome to the team and to the
Thank you
family.
guys for having me. It was a pleasure
Everybody on
being
Food
here.
Talk, I hope you enjoyed this little hack. It just was an opportunity to start your week off with a little sugar and a little reminder. When life gives you something that doesn't rise to the occasion and make it even better.
That's
With
right.
that, I'm going to say goodnight. We're on again tomorrow. Thank you for oh, I love that one. Thank you.
Yes,
We're
good
on again
job.
tomorrow with Sherry Skinner. And every single day we are on. And sometimes our calendar timing will shift based on the individual
Thanks,
creators,
Ed.
but we try to be on a regular basis. All right, everybody. Have a good evening.
All right, good night, everybody. Thank you for joining.
Moises, thank you.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Brad.